How Pepsi went bankrupt, rebranded its way back to life, and built a $70 billion global empire. The soda war you didn't know you were drinking. Be honest, you've probably had a Pepsi or a Coke in your life. Maybe you even picked one without thinking. But what if I told you that every sip is part of one of the most brutal, sneaky, and hilarious corporate wars in history? A war where companies went bankrupt multiple times, where marketing tricks changed global culture, and where a drink invented in a small pharmacy ended up fighting a billion-dollar rival for global domination like it was a heavyweight boxing match. And the most surprising part, Pepsi didn't just survive. It got knocked down, disappeared, came back, reinvented itself, and somehow became one of the most powerful food and beverage empires on Earth. Today, we're diving into the wild, chaotic, and surprisingly dramatic rise of PepsiCo. And trust me, this story is anything but refreshing and simple. It's more like chaos with carbonation, the accidental birth of a soda giant. Let's rewind to 1898. No smartphones, no Netflix, just pharmacists experimenting like mad scientists behind soda fountains. One of them was Caleb Bradham, a small-town pharmacist in North Carolina. Like many pharmacists at the time, Bradham wasn't just selling medicine, he was also running a soda fountain in his drugstore. And that's where things got interesting. He created a drink called Brad's Drink, a mix of sugar, water, caramel, lemon oil, cola nuts, and spices. Basically a science experiment that tasted good. Customers loved it. It gave energy, it tasted sweet, and it felt refreshing. So Bradham did what every ambitious entrepreneur does. He rebranded it. He called it Pepsi Cola, inspired by pepsin, a digestive enzyme, and cola nuts. At first, Pepsi was marketed as a health drink. Yes, a soda pretending to be medicine. Early advertising literally promoted it as a digestive aid, because apparently in the early 1900s, people believed soda could fix your stomach and your life, rising fast, then crashing hard. Pepsi started growing quickly. By 1902, Bradham officially founded Pepsi Cola Company. Everything looked promising, and then came the mistake that almost erased Pepsi forever. World War I happened. Sugar prices skyrocketed. Bradham made a massive gamble. He stockpiled huge amounts of sugar, expecting prices to rise even more. But the exact opposite happened. Prices collapsed. Bradham was stuck with overpriced inventory and crushing debt. And just like that, Pepsi went bankrupt. Imagine building a brand from scratch only to lose it because sugar decided to misbehave. That's not business, that's betrayal. Coca-Cola steps in like the final boss. At this point, Pepsi was tiny, struggling, and basically forgotten. Meanwhile, its rival was thriving. Coca-Cola had already become a global powerhouse. It had money, distribution, branding, and something even more powerful: momentum. Pepsi, on the other hand, was auctioned off for just $30,000. Yes, a global brand in the making, sold for the price of a small apartment today. The company changed hands multiple times, including businessman Roy McGargle, who tried to keep it alive. But then came the Great Depression, and Pepsi collapsed again. That's right, bankrupt twice. At this point, Pepsi wasn't a competitor, it was a cautionary tale. The miracle comeback nobody expected. In 1931, Pepsi got another chance. A businessman named Charles Guth stepped in and rebuilt the company from scratch. And this is where Pepsi got clever. Instead of trying to compete directly with Coke's prestige, Pepsi did something different. It got strategic. It introduced a 12-ounce bottle for just 5 cents. Meanwhile, Coke was selling 6 ounces for the same price. Pepsi's slogan basically translated to twice as much for the same price. That wasn't marketing, that was psychological warfare. Then came something revolutionary: the Nickel Nickel radio jingle. It became one of the first advertising songs broadcast nationwide. Catchy, simple, and impossible to ignore. Suddenly, Pepsi wasn't the fallen brand anymore, it was the underdog fighting back. The real turning point: advertising becomes a weapon. By the 1950s, Pepsi needed more than catchy jingles. It needed dominance. Enter Alfred Steele, former executive at Coca-Cola who became CEO of Pepsi, and he knew exactly how Coke worked from the inside. He doubled down on advertising, branding, and emotional marketing. And it worked. Pepsi's profits increased dramatically, over 10 times in a short period. But here's the problem. Coke was still winning, badly. Coke had one unbeatable phrase, the real thing. How do you compete with real? Pepsi's answer was genius. They didn't fight Coke head-on. They changed the battlefield. The youth strategy that changed everything. Pepsi made a bold decision. If Coke owns tradition, Pepsi will own the future. So they went after young people, baby boomers, teens, students, the generation that wanted identity, rebellion, and energy. And they built their entire brand around the choice of a new generation. Suddenly, Pepsi wasn't just a soda, it was a lifestyle, a statement, a vibe. The Pepsi Challenge, the most savage taste test in history. In the 1970s, Pepsi launched something dangerous, something bold, something borderline disrespectful. It was called the Pepsi Challenge. People were given blind taste tests, no labels, no branding, just Coke versus Pepsi. And guess what happened? A surprising number of people chose Pepsi. Why? Because Pepsi was slightly sweeter. And in blind taste tests, sweetness wins. Coke's headquarters reportedly didn't find it funny. In fact, internal research confirmed the results. Pepsi was catching up, fast. Michael Jackson, superstars, and the pop culture takeover. Then came the 80s, and Pepsi decided it wasn't just selling soda anymore, it was selling culture. In 1984, Pepsi signed a historic deal with Michael Jackson. At the time, he was the biggest star on the planet. The Thriller era was exploding globally. The deal reportedly cost around $5 million, one of the biggest endorsement deals ever at the time. And suddenly, Pepsi commercials weren't commercials, they were mini music videos. The campaign also featured celebrities like Tina Turner, Michael J. Fox, and Joe Montana. Pepsi wasn't competing, it was dominating pop culture itself. For a while, Pepsi even overtook Coke in supermarket sales. That had never happened before. The real secret: Pepsi was never just a soda company. By this point, something interesting was happening. Pepsi wasn't just selling drinks, it was building an empire. It merged with snack giant Frito-Lay, creating the foundation of modern PepsiCo. Then it expanded aggressively, acquired Pizza Hut, acquired Taco Bell, acquired KFC, added drinks like Mountain Dew, expanded into juices like Tropicana, merged with Quaker Oats Company, and entered bottled water and tech beverage systems like SodaStream. Pepsi wasn't a soda brand anymore, it was a global food machine. The strategic reset: focus or collapse. By the late 1990s, Pepsi had become too big, too scattered, too complicated. So it made a surprising move. It sold off its restaurant businesses into what became Yum brands. Why? Because managing fast food chains and soda at the same time was like trying to juggle flaming knives while riding a bicycle. Instead, Pepsi refocused on what it did best: drinks, snacks, and global branding. And that decision paid off massively. Modern Pepsi, a billion-dollar everyday machine. Today, PepsiCo operates in over 200 countries. Its products are consumed more than 1 billion times per day. It generates over $70 billion annually, and it owns some of the most powerful food and beverage brands on the planet. From chips to juice to soda to snacks, PepsiCo is everywhere. But here's the twist: Pepsi didn't win by being the oldest, or the strongest, or even the first. It won by adopting faster than everyone else, the underdog that refused to stay down. The story of Pepsi is not a straight line. It's not a smooth success story. It's a roller coaster. Bankruptcy, comebacks, reinvention, aggressive marketing wars, and cultural domination. From a small pharmacy experiment by Caleb Bradham to a global empire competing with Coke at every level, Pepsi's journey proves one thing: success is not about avoiding failure, it's about surviving it repeatedly. Today, every Pepsi bottle carries more than a drink. It carries a history of collapse and rebirth, a reminder that even giants can fall and rise again stronger. So, who really won the cola war? Let's be honest, there is no clean winner. Coke still leads in many markets, Pepsi dominates in others, but the real winner? Marketing, culture, and the billion-dollar battle that turned soda into storytelling. So next time you pick a drink, just remember, you're not choosing a beverage, you're choosing a side in one of the greatest corporate wars ever fought. And Pepsi? It's the brand that got knocked down twice, maybe more, and still stood back up smiling. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more untold business wars, corporate histories, and billion-dollar stories. Because trust me, the next story is even crazier than this one.